Hello. This is the right size for me, you know. Just tiny. Okay, so my talk at IATEFA had to do with ways to empower teachers so that they can adapt the materials using inclusive practices. It's something I've been delving into in the last few years, and something I insist my teachers at school to start incorporating, to include all the students, yes. So let's get started. So today, if I have enough time in these 20 minutes, we are going to talk about neurodiversity. I will have an overview of the main traits of neurodivergent students, and I will show you the strategies that we use in my context to support neurodivergent students. And I will show you some samples and questions and answers during break time. Okay, so do you know the percentage of people in the world that are estimated to be neurodivergent? No idea. Okay, so let's say it's around 15 or 20%, which means in each of our classrooms we might have students with different needs. Yes. Now, neurodivergences is a new way of thinking. Yes, it acknowledges that natural differences exist, but they have to do with the way the brain works and process information. Yes, there is no right or wrong way for the brain to work, to function. But neurodivergences are considered normal variations. So it's a framework for understanding and valuing the differences, the different ways our students think and learn and also behave. It's not a diagnosis. So those who might have heard or might have participated in courses about neurodivergences might be acquainted with this picture or those boxes where we, at the very beginning, maybe we went for equality, offering all the students in our class the same boxes so that they could achieve learning. Then maybe we moved because we understood that equity was important, so we gave each student the necessary boxes so that they could access knowledge and learning. Now we've got a third picture where what we need to try to do is to remove those barriers that make learning inaccessible in a way, and that is what is called liberation. In line with some other talks we had today, I would like to call it justice. We need to make sure those barriers are removed so all the students in the classroom can learn. Now, I would like to go very briefly through the different types of neurodivergent students we might have in the classroom. Yes, we might have students with dyslexia, and dyslexia is an information processing difficulty. Students might have their reading, spelling, and writing affected. They probably have difficulties with organization, concentration. They cannot write words the proper way. Sometimes they reverse letters. Yes. As regards ADHD, traditionally it has been known as attention deficit disorder. Nowadays it is called difference, not disorder, because disorder suggests that there is something wrong. Yes. Whereas difference just acknowledges that there is a variation in the way the student behaves or thinks. And students might have difficulties with 3 areas: attention, there might be hyperactivity or impulsivity. We might notice ADHD students make careless mistakes, they are easily distracted, they seem not to listen, they do not follow instructions. Again, they might have issues with concentration, attention. If there is the element of hyperactivity, they fidget a lot, you know, there's lots of movement. They cannot keep quiet, even if we ask them 100 times, they cannot help it. And it is really devastating to hear a student an ADHD student telling you, I don't know what is going on with me, but I just can't help it. I cannot stop moving. I cannot stop saying things, or I cannot stop doing, what I'm told off about. They are restless, they might talk non-stop, and they might even find it hard to be silent, even if we ask them, yes. And they might also be impulsive, that is, they cannot wait for their turn, they interrupt conversations and shout out answers. And then in my classroom, in my context, I also have autistic students, yes. And autistic students also have a neurological difference in the structure of the brain, so they have difficulties in three main areas. Social interaction, that is relationships with others, so they seem not to understand social rules, so they might get too near you or too far away. They have difficulties understanding people's reactions or emotions, and they have difficulties expressing their own emotions. They appear clumsy, or they might have sensory issues. Either they are oversensitive or undersensitive. And they also have some difficulties with the language and communications, both verbal and non-verbal. They might sound too formal when speaking, or they might use improper language. They are unable, again, to sit still, just like the ones we mentioned before, talk, they interact, yes. And they also have some difficulties as regards social imagination. That is, our favorite activity as teachers of English, that is role play, might not work with them because they cannot put themselves into somebody else's shoes, and they cannot think, imagine scenarios. They have this rigid thinking and difficulties to adapt, yes, to different activities, to a different routine to the one that we generally use. But we have more in the classroom. So we might have students who have dyscalculia, which is a persistent difficulty in understanding numbers and math. And here you might say, wow, good, one less to think of, because I'm a teacher of English. Well, there is where I got it wrong, because at the very beginning when I started getting into this, because students with dyscalculia also have difficulties processing language, because they cannot understand or follow sequences. They have difficulties remembering sequences, and guess what? We have sequences when we teach the days of the week, months of the year, when we teach the time, when we teach distance, for example. Typical activity, explain how to get from this place to the other. Well, students with dyscalculia might find it hard to do that. Dysgraphia is a neurological disorder which is characterized by writing disabilities. And here students have difficulties with motor skill, gross motor skills. They might have an awkward grip of the pen or pencil, so they cannot write properly, or they might have difficulties with understanding sentence structure, organizing their thought, yes, to process the language and to talk, yes, in English. And dyspraxia, the last one I will mention today, is again a developmental coordination difficulty where students might have issues with the fine and gross motor skills. That is, they might find it hard to run, to move around the classroom, but also they might find difficulties writing, for example. So again, coordination, attention, concentration, and focus are issues that the students might find difficulties with. Now, all these difficulties or neurodivergencies I have just mentioned might co-occur, which means we might have students who have ADHD and also dyslexia, or a combination of things. They don't always occur in isolation. So, to make things simpler in my school, not because this is not important, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but to help teachers at school, what we generally do is to take into consideration what all these students have in common as regards difficulties. What is it that they all share? And most of them have issues with concentration, with attention, to focus, organization, with their memory, especially the short-term memory, anxiety, coordination, and understanding, but also communicating language. So, taking this into consideration, at school, we adapt materials so that we can cater for the needs of these students. And we take an approach which includes all these 5 components. And I will show you some samples of things we do. Yes, we take careful attention to the instructions we give to students, but also the classroom environment. We offer support when writing and when reading. Then there is social and emotional support. Some of my peers mentioned things about this. And also we adapt when we test. Yes. Now, as far as the first one, instructions, strategies, what we do, in general, we adjust the instructions we give to our students, just like Eugenia, that she mentioned how she changed the language. Well, at school, we pay a lot of attention to the instructions we give to students. So it might be quite small, sorry, that was shouting me shouting. But here we've got an instruction that is long and complex. And it takes a lot of effort for students to remember. Yes, remember, concentration, focus, attention is a difficulty for these students. So we adjust it. We made it shorter, and we always highlight, we use bold or we underline key words that we want students to remember. We also use visuals. Whenever we can, we use images that can help students understanding. Yes. And we chunk tasks. We don't give students a worksheet, a complete worksheet with several activities in it, which is, we might have in our plannings and in our lessons, activities A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10, but then we just give one activity at a time. Yeah, so that we can give them thinking time, they can lower their anxiety, they don't feel overwhelmed with so many things. And also, we offer extra processing time. Students need more time to be able to read, to process what they have to do. And whenever it is possible, we offer multisensory or multimodal activities. I could not add videos because I have the students and I did not have the consent of the students from school, but it has to do with incorporating videos and language and audio so that they can process the content through all their senses. As regards classroom environment, we pay a lot of attention to routines. Remember, autistic students might feel stressed if there's a change in routine, they have this rigid thinking. So teachers in the school have different techniques. Some courses, for example, some teachers have a sequence of tasks they perform every single day, and they organize it so that students know what comes first, what happens after the second activity and the third, when they go to break. And some other teachers just write on the board what the plan, just like we have an agenda today, but it helps students lower their anxiety. We also try to minimize distractors. Remember that students with ADHD have difficulties focusing their attention, and autistic students might be oversensitive to lots of information. So we try to keep walls in the classroom clean and cluttered. So a poster like the one you see here, we might not use that in the classroom. We favor other types of activities, such as having corners with cards or with the information they need, and they just grab that. Yes, this is the next task I was going to show you. Stations with resources and scaffolds. So if they need vocabulary related to places in town, they have the cards and they go and grab them. If they need to use adjectives for the description, they just have a sector where they can use that material. But we don't have everything on the walls. Yeah. And we also incorporate alternative seating and then dyslexia-friendly fonts and materials. That is sans serif, Arial, 12 big fonts, and interlined, so that they just don't get cluttered and they don't get anxious about too much information on the page. As regards the support for reading and writing, we try to check understanding all the time. We proofread. We teach and reteach so that students can understand what they have to do. And we use timeout a lot. If students cannot concentrate in the classroom, they are allowed to go to preceptor's office or to go to read the text or do an activity outside the classroom. And I will show you, because I don't have much time, I will show you some examples of reading and writing. Yes. Contextualization is always important for both when you do reading and when you do writing. But then, for example, for reading, we have the original text with the visual, and then for neurodivergent students, we chunk texts. We divide it into paragraphs, so we give a paragraph at a time so that they can read, understand the first part, we check that there's understanding, and then we move on to the next. And for writing, we also use lots of templates, writing frames, and scaffold planning. How we do it? We give them guiding questions so that they know what to include in their pieces of writing. For instance, this is one we use as storyboard. It is actually taken from international exams students sit for. And in general, they are given the 3 pages and they need to describe the event. We add support to students for neurodivergent students. We give them cards like the one we have on the side, where we offer the vocabulary they can use. We offer a structure with connectors, or those who need further support, we give them ideas on what to write about each of the pictures. We give them questions. We offer the support they need. Yeah. And as regards social and emotional support, it is important to get to know the students. As Mariana said, encourage a growth mindset, friendship and respect in the classroom, because students need to understand that they are not all receiving the same boxes. In order to remove barriers, we need to offer students what they need. Positive reinforcement, we also use a buddy system to facilitate peer support. And I think the most important thing is to have open and honest conversations with them. What worked with you before? What helped you the previous year, so that we can replicate practices. And offer choice. If writing is a difficulty, well, you can record it orally, or you can use other options, as long as we achieve the same outcome. Assessment is also something we pay careful attention to. We always offer extra time when needed, and alternative assessment methods. 2 minutes, great. If it is written and students feel they cannot write that day, we offer an opportunity to speak about the exam, to give us oral answers. In the picture here, you can see what teachers in fourth form do. Every time they teach new content, they have this self-assessment corner where students can place their stick with their names where they feel they are. If the content is okay, they place their names in green. If they need some help, yellow. If they couldn't understand anything and they need to be retaught or re-explained, then red. And the teacher finds an opportunity to explain things again. Yes. And provide scaffolding. That is the example we have there in the picture. For reading exams, for example, some students cannot produce their own language, their own answers, so we give them options and they choose the correct option. Here I included, for example, a scaffolded exam in 3 parts. These are 3 different versions of the same activity, which is answer the questions. The first one, you see here, standing on their own. What we offered is vocabulary or words that they can use to build their answer. Then we have options, and the third version of the same activity is we give them options, but we ask them to indicate where in the text they found the answer. Yeah. This is the latest exam we adopted last week. This is a change from my TOEFL presentation. It is a listening activity, and then neurotypical students would receive the typical listening activity where they have to choose the correct option. They listen and they choose one or the other. And for neurodivergent students, we offer extra support with an image. Yes, and the reading part goes in a similar vein. So neurotypical students have, again, to choose the correct option, but there is a lot to read. Neurodivergent students sometimes feel overwhelmed with long texts, so we just give them options. The aim is the same, to recognize if the item is included in the reading text, so it's just tick or cross. Now, in a nutshell, because I guess I have -1 minute, the common traits of neurodivergent students are concentration, attention and focus, anxiety, self-esteem, memory. They might have literacy difficulties, and organization and coordination. To work with them, I offer 3 tips. Check the strategy. I offered some there. Is it working? If it fails, just don't worry. It is not the end of the world. Change the strategy. Yes, go for something different. Have an open, honest conversation with the student and decide how to go on. Talk to the student openly. And the last, remember that good teaching for neurodivergent students is good teaching for all our students. All these strategies work well with all of them. So, this is now an exit ticket, the last thing. How do you feel about implementing strategies for neurodivergent students? Are you on a dirt road? Do you need more help, support, further sessions like this one to get to know more? So let's see, maybe we can have a pool of hands. You can pull up your hand. Those who feel you need more, dirt road. Okay, so let's check on that, a new session on this. Paved road, who's ready? Now say, well, I can take this and that and see what happens. Okay. And who's on a highway? That is, on Monday, you will start implementing 1 or 2 ideas. Oh, well, I do have a few hands, so thank you for that. So, people, that questions and answers is for break. I have the bibliography I used to prepare this research. And one last thing is, here you have my email, my contact details. If you want this presentation, materials, further support, just feel free to contact me and I can offer you everything. Okay? Thank you very much.